Hey everyone, today on Political Access we've got a hypothetical 2024 matchup between Al Gore for the Democrats up against Ron DeSantis for the Republicans. This was suggested to me in the comments, and let's dive right into this one. It's not easy. Al Gore, vice president under Bill Clinton in the 90s. There was a lot of economic prosperity during his time, but also NAFTA got started. That caused a lot of the decline in the Rust Belt, and there's pros and cons, but I think that's the key deciding factor in this race. Al Gore, also very pro-environment. He's also a little bit older now. He's not really in the limelight as much as he used to be. So even if there's some animosity from the 90s, it's tough to gauge how much that would hold today. Now, Ron DeSantis, his challenge will also be in the Rust Belt. But of course, DeSantis, he is in the limelight these days. People do know who he is. They're going to have to tackle modern issues. It's easier to predict with DeSantis, harder to predict with Gore, but I think he would probably fall in line as an establishment Democrat. So let's quickly go through the states. We'll talk a little bit more about it at the end. We'll start in Alaska. That's going to be safe for DeSantis, over 10 points. Hawaii, that is of course going to be safe for Gore. Back up to the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, California, those are blue states, and they're going to go solid blue for Gore. Now we've got Nevada. This is a tricky state, but I do have it going red this time, and a tilt for DeSantis. Idaho and Utah, safe for DeSantis. Arizona, I think Gore is a better fit here these days than DeSantis. I do have it going blue, and a tilt for Gore. Montana, Wyoming, safe for DeSantis. Colorado, just over 10 points, safe for Gore. New Mexico, that'll be mid-single digits, 5 to 6 points, likely for Gore. North Dakota, South Dakota, safe for DeSantis. Nebraska at large, safe for DeSantis. The 2nd district, that's the Omaha district. The trends are away from the Republicans. I do have Gore winning it by a lean's margin, somewhere between 1 and 3 points. Kansas, safe for DeSantis. Oklahoma, safe for DeSantis. How about in Texas? That will be likely for DeSantis. Up to Minnesota, that'll be about 5 to 6 points, likely for Gore. Iowa will be likely for DeSantis. Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, those will be safe for DeSantis. Now we go up to Wisconsin, and we get more into the Rust Belt, and these are difficult states to predict with all the different factors, and after thinking about it for a while, I settled on a tilt for DeSantis. Illinois, safe for Gore. Michigan, another crucial Rust Belt state. A lot of manufacturing jobs lost in Michigan over the last couple of decades. Maybe they hold that against Gore. Maybe it's old news at this point. Maybe DeSantis struggles here. Maybe DeSantis is what they're looking for here. Tough to say. Michigan, it's just a little bit bluer than some of these other states. I did settle on a tilt for Gore. Indiana, safe for DeSantis. Kentucky, safe for DeSantis. Tennessee, that was Al Gore's home state in the U.S. Senate, but these days, that is going to go safe for DeSantis. Mississippi, Alabama is safe for DeSantis. Now we've got Ron DeSantis' home state of Florida. That, I think, will be high single digits, not quite safe. 8 or 9 points, likely for DeSantis. Now we've got Georgia. This is not an easy state. I think DeSantis could win it because it does border Florida, but those Atlanta suburbs, I think they're looking for someone just slightly more moderate, and that would cancel out those deep red rural Trump counties, and I have Gore winning it by a tilt margin. South Carolina, safe for DeSantis. North Carolina, leans for DeSantis. Now we go to Ohio, and that'll be likely for DeSantis. West Virginia, safe for DeSantis. Let's go up to Maine at large. That'll be about 5 to 6 points, likely for Gore. The 1st district, safe for Gore. The 2nd district, about 5 to 6 points, likely for DeSantis. Now we've got New Hampshire. This will be 4 to 5 points, leans for Gore. Now we've got the blue states, Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Washington, D.C., all over 10 points and safe for Gore. Now let's go to Pennsylvania. This is another critical state. Could go either way. And in the end, I had to make a decision, and I settled on a tilt for Ron DeSantis. And now we've got the last state of Virginia, and that is going to go likely for Al Gore. And that's your final map. And look at that, that comes out to 270 for Ron DeSantis, 268 for Al Gore. So it kind of doesn't get any closer than that. DeSantis pulls it out by the narrowest of margins, and I didn't plan it out this way. This is just what happened, and it is pretty much a toss-up. I had a real hard time gauging how well liked or disliked Gore would be at this point. He's made a name for himself as an environmentalist, but he is pretty bland. He's very boring. He's going to have to answer questions about trade and labor. I'm sure unions would be more friendly to Gore these days, but there is an opening for DeSantis. I think culturally he would do better with the working class these days in the Rust Belt. On economics, Gore is probably going to do better. Gore is going to talk about wages. He's going to talk about health care, those kinds of populist issues, so I think it's difficult to figure out which way these states would break. Arizona and Georgia, those are states that I think would trend in Gore's direction, but DeSantis does pick up Nevada in this scenario. But Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, I'm not going to lie and say those are easy states to call. There's a lot of different factors, anything could swing them by 1, 2, or 3 points. Other factors would include their vice president, the national environment, the current issues at the time, the media, that would be another factor. Al Gore is very establishment. There's no question most of the mainstream media would be behind Gore. He does come off as non-threatening. DeSantis is at least trying to shake up the system a little bit more than Gore, and a lot of people probably forgot about Gore. He would have to get out there and try to fire up the progressives. He can't only talk about the environment to win their vote over, and Gore doesn't really come off as much of a fighter for the working class as much as someone like Bernie Sanders might. So Gore does have some negatives. I think there are more question marks with Gore. He had his best chance to win in 2000. He didn't get the job done. Maybe people hold that against him as well, or maybe they think he would be a refreshing throwback to the 90s. Tough to say, but this is the map that I settled on. DeSantis wins it in a squeaker. Let me know in the comments, do you mostly agree with this map, or would you change 7 or 8 of these states? Let me know down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.